Thank you for taking the time to view our project presentation. Our group consisted of Chauncey Brown, Lillianne Rose, and Taylie Shaw. We selected project option 1, interview organizational leaders to learn how they create conditions for organized learning. We conducted virtual interviews with administrators within the Lee County School District in Southwest Florida. Our goal was to learn how each administrator creates conditions for organized learning.
In order to get a snapshot of how K through 12 administrators create conditions for organizational learning, we interviewed 3 different administrators from 3 different schools across the school district of Lee County, which services over 95,000 students within 120 different schools. The first person we interviewed via Zoom was Miss Lizanne Thomas. She is the assistant principal of curriculum at Lehigh Acres Middle School. She brought a middle school focus to the table. Dr. Brian Gibson, he is the principal at Fort Myers Middle Academy. He also came with a middle school focus, but has spent many years at the high school level. And then our third interviewee was Miss Rebecca Krell. She is the assistant principal at Allen Park Elementary, so she brought that elementary lens.
In order to review the interview questions that we developed to use for our interviewees, please pause your screen and you can review 1 to 9 here. Our learning organization characteristics included ongoing continuous learning, coherent direction and purpose being established, knowledge sharing prevalence, interconnectedness for decision-making, feedback and dialogue encouraged, embracing potential risks, and supporting training, workshop development, and opportunities for mentorship.
Our first focus was learning culture. We wanted to see how each of the 3 schools created, how the administrators created a culture of learning within the faculty. The main example that came through was a push for professional development. For Miss Thomas at Lehigh Acres Middle School, there was a very big push for new teacher mentorship and providing a year-long education program known as Apples to new teachers and really fostering education for them. At Dr. Gibson's location at Fort Myers Middle Academy, his big focus was collaboration and professional learning communities, which in his words, were considered a non-negotiable. And for Miss Krell at Allen Park, it was really focused on a peer-created monthly professional developments, and those were crafted based on a needs assessment that was administered to the staff. When it comes to a shared vision, all 3 administrators really focused on communication, and it was emphasized about their communicating the vision amongst the staff and within social media and promoting their vision. On the screen, you'll see the vision for the school district, and all 3 administrators reference the school district standard for professional development, which was the Apples program and the basic professional development offered across the board to all members within the school district. Next was team learning, and there was a big commonality amongst the 3 schools and 3 administrators when it came to PLCs, which are professional learning communities, and having teachers collaborate and plan together. A few other commonalities we found were these PLC meetings are occurring weekly, and it was written into the teacher contract for extra minutes provided for teachers to meet weekly. At the middle school level, both administrators mentioned weekly professional development, whereas at the elementary level, it was a monthly professional development. There was new teacher learning opportunities provided monthly for across the board at middle and elementary schools. District trainings were considered optional and at the teacher discretion to sign up for outside of the regular school hours. And then all 3 mentioned training or support being available to teachers upon their request.
Systems thinking. The interconnectedness for decision-making purposes is evident in all three locations, and all three respondents unilaterally support the concept of systems thinking. For instance, Dr. Gibson believes professional development should be prefaced with a needs assessment, and sessions should be selected based on needs of the school as opposed to what is requested from the district. He also mentions accountability tracking and including school-based coaches to monitor progress. Open communication. Dialogue and feedback are apparent within each of the three school locations. For example, several practices were referenced within our interviews, such as guided discussions, leadership team discussions, professional development topic construction, and district trainings, which are all implemented at the school site. Experimentation and innovation. There are district-wide programs established within Lee County at each school location, and these consist of an Apples program to support new hires. These individuals are also supported at the school-based level throughout years 1, 2, and 3. There are book study groups that have been implemented, as well as support staff specifically tailored to each individual.
Some areas where we have identified related learning opportunities were breaking away from the current cycle of single loop learning opportunities for those in the K-12 organizational settings. To do this, adult learners really need to be made aware of the why in relation to what they're learning, and basically understand how it can help them immediately in their practice in the workplace. Also, instead of creating punitive or a negative narrative surrounding learning and training or professional development or PLCs, there needs to be removal of that type of threatening terminology like non-negotiable from rhetoric and vocabulary. So what basically our critical analysis was of each of the interviewee sessions consistently indicated that obtaining feedback from staff and soliciting dialogue were some of the most important factors impacting organizational culture itself. In conclusion, basically, we'd see what is working best right now is a continuation of that, a continuation of the Apples program, collaborative professional developments and professional learning communities, PLCs, and also frequent annual training offerings. These are all items that are currently working for organizational learning, so a continuation of those is recommended. Our own recommendations include utilizing double loop learning through implementing non-threatening and non-punitive practices like communities of practice and peer reviews district-wide. These are our references. Please review them when you have a moment. Thank you for listening.